Thorough preparation makes its own luck. Joe Poyer. Maybe conveniently having your umbrella on a rainy afternoon following a sunny morning is luck to someone else, but preparation for you. And this is what developments in meteorology and hydrology are engineering. Preparation to make your days luckier. We are observing World Meteorological Day, and your preparation for tomorrow's forecast begins with Jamaica Magazine. I'm Adrian Atkinson. Thank you so much for joining us today.
Good day, I'm Stephen McHugh, and this is your JIS News for March 23. Operators of public passenger vehicles are to benefit from a pool of approximately $600 million to cushion the rising cost of fuel. The government announced yesterday that it will be providing $25,000 in vouchers to the group, which also includes route taxi operators and contract carriage operators. It will be administered by the Transport Authority under the guidance of the Minister of Transport and Mining. As he closed out the budget debate, Finance Minister Dr. Nigel Clarke said the program will begin at the end of April. Another benefit is a $200 million revolving loan financing for public passenger vehicle operators. This will be available through microcredit and approved financial institutions by way of the Development Bank of Jamaica.
This financing will be available for short-term loans for tires, batteries and spare parts required for public transportation operation. And as we provide, Madam Speaker, some relief, we appeal to public transportation operators to abide by the fares set by regulatory authorities.
Meanwhile, government will increase the allocation towards transportation assistance for students on the Program of Advancement through Health and Education path by 40%. This will cost an additional $152 million. These initiatives are part of the government's overall social assistance support of $3.7 billion. Over the next 4 months, several household customers of the Jamaica Public Service will benefit from the government's We Care Energy Copay program. The government has committed to pay 20% of JPS's bill for all households with consumption of 200 kilowatts or less per month for April through to July. The cost is estimated at $2 billion and aims to cushion the impact of rising energy prices.
So, Madam Speaker, adding this group brings the total number of households on whose behalf we propose this temporary intervention based on the figures from the JPS as at February 2022 to 457,786 households out of a total of 563,451, Madam Speaker, or 81% of the JPS retail customer base.
Prepaid customers will also receive a bonus credit from the government representing 20% of the top-up amount. The Ministry of Finance has obtained Cabinet's approval to exempt lithium-ion batteries from General Consumption Tax (GCT). This is to be implemented in the first quarter of the 2022-2023 financial year, which begins on April 1. This move, according to Portfolio Minister Dr. Nigel Clarke, is in keeping with the thrust of the National Energy Policy to update strategies to encourage the use of energy-efficient technologies.
We recognize that lithium-ion batteries are rechargeable batteries and used as the primary component of its electrolyte. It's commonly used for portable electronics and electric vehicles, and their popularity has been growing as an energy storage technology, which should help to reduce the costs associated with generation of electricity.
Dr. Clarke said the ministry has already provided relief of the Common External Tariff, CET, on such batteries, and now believes the time is right to exempt these batteries from GCT. Jamaica will soon have its own user-friendly mobile weather app. The Meteorological Service Division, Met Service, is developing the app to make it easier for persons to understand and access local weather information. Director of the Met Service, Evan Thompson, says the entity is looking to change the way weather forecasts are used by the public. He was speaking at a JIS think tank on Monday to mark today's observance of World Meteorological Day.
Early action speaks about making the forecast a little bit more than what we're accustomed to seeing. We always put out our forecasts that indicate what the weather is going to be, but our intention as we look at the action that needs to be taken by our publics is to think about what the weather will actually do.
The Met Service Weather app is being developed in partnership with the UK-based social enterprise Resurgence and the Finnish Meteorological Institute.
You will have much more visual content in all your forecasts. You'll have the icons, you'll have the weather maps, you will have color codes to indicate when there's going to be severe weather, and you will have much more information about what the weather is going to do, not just what it's going to be.
Their Royal Highnesses, the Duke and Duchess of Cambridge, have arrived in Jamaica for a 3-day visit to the island. The visit is part of activities to celebrate the Platinum Jubilee of Queen Elizabeth II, who ascended to the throne 70 years ago. Their Royal Highnesses arrived yesterday at the Norman Manley International Airport in Kingston. They were met by Foreign Affairs Minister Kamina Johnson-Smith and Chief of Defence Staff Rear Admiral Antoinette Weems-Gorman. After inspecting the Guard of Honour, Prince William and the Duchess Catherine met the welcome party, which included the Chief Justice, the Mayor of Kingston, and the Commissioner of Police. Their Royal Highnesses then proceeded to King's House for a courtesy call on Governor-General Sir Patrick Allen and his wife, Lady Allen. While at King's House, Prince William distributed platinum medals to prominent Jamaicans, including Chief Medical Officer Dr. Jacqueline Bisesa Mackenzie. Day one of the royal visit concluded with a visit to Trench Town, where their Royal Highnesses participated in a cultural activity and Prince William displayed his football skills during a scrimmage match. And finally, 10 students at the Browns Hall Primary School in St. Catherine are now proud owners of tablets, courtesy of the Jamaica Information Service, JIS. The devices, which were donated in partnership with the Digicel Foundation, were handed over during a ceremony at the school on Monday. The donations form part of the JIS's corporate social responsibility strategy. Managing editor of the editorial and photography department, Beverly Sinclair, expressed the hope that the tablets will increase students' access to education. And that's it for JIS News Today. I'm Stephen McHugh. Thanks for watching.
Well, the whole business of weather prediction and weather forecasting is really a complex business. So what the Meteorological Service does, along with many other meteorological services right across the globe, is that we do regular observations of the weather. It starts first of all by assessing what the current weather conditions are. We try to find out how much rainfall is being detected at that point in time. We are assessing wind speed or wind direction, and the atmospheric pressure is detected. The temperature is also sensed, as well as the humidity at any location. We have the automatic weather stations, and we have over 80 of them right across the 14 parishes. Apart from these instruments, we have visual observations that are done by meteorological technicians, and they do observations of the cloud cover, the wind conditions. They view the visibility, how far they can see in the distance. There are many parameters that are measured just by using the senses. We have our Doppler radar. It shows us where across the country rainfall is actually occurring at any point in time. We also sense what is happening in the atmosphere above the ground. So this is where our weather balloon comes into play, because that weather balloon is released twice every day in Jamaica to assess the atmosphere using a bit of equipment that is attached to that balloon. There are also like buoys that are in the ocean. They are sensing weather conditions. We have some ships that are equipped with stations that bring in information. There are pilots that send in information via aircraft. Then what we do with that information afterwards is that all of it goes into numerical weather prediction models. It gets crunched by a supercomputer. It sends back now some model data that tells us what is expected to occur. But of course, we don't rely entirely on the technology, because the experience of our forecasters is also important. We then have to sit down and assess what is really happening to the atmosphere. Using the local knowledge, using our understanding of the topography of the island, where the hills are located, where we're likely to get the land breezes and the sea breezes. All these things we have to take into consideration when we come up with a forecast for any specific point in Jamaica. It is a complex process, but that is how we in the Met Service actually forecast our weather conditions.
Besides reading the weather, we are progressing in other areas of science too. Nuclear science is presenting itself as a growing field in Jamaica, especially for females. Here's why this is a viable career to tap into.
Science is an essential cornerstone in the creation of a modern society.
As the Ministry of Science, Energy and Technology pursues its mission to increase the popularization of science in schools, we're highlighting one of the many careers that one can undertake in this field. Nuclear science involves applying nuclear techniques to investigate and study different fields. Here in Jamaica, nuclear techniques have been applied to conduct studies in areas such as agriculture, health, and climate change. Unfortunately, the field of nuclear science is largely male-dominated, but there are females out there who have been doing great work and have solidified their space.
I work in the nuclear analytical lab. I started out in engineering and transitioned into this field, so it wasn't exactly on my radar. I wasn't told about it in high school, and it wasn't something I knew really existed per se, which is what we're trying to change here, to get people aware that there is this field that exists and it's actually here. So I had the privilege of seeing an opening and I applied. I love projects. I love investigating. For me specifically, I love marine and atmospheric studies, which is how I use nuclear science to investigate the marine environment and urban air quality. It's been fun. No 2 days are the same, which works for me. And it definitely requires passion and interest because the field is constantly changing. There's always something new to learn, while there are things that are established. Like in science in general, science also continues to present new information, and that new information can change how you do certain things or maybe how you look at future projects. So it requires that you constantly read. It requires that you're constantly open to really, understanding why is it that you're doing what you're doing and how it actually can help solve the bigger picture, not just doing it for the sake of doing it. Science in general is a male-dominated field. It's for sure, that is exactly how it is. It's why the UN has the International Day for Women and Girls in Science, to encourage the changing of that situation. Personally, I've never really been daunted by the fact that it's male-dominated because it's something that I'm interested in, so I pursued it irrespective of that position. And so I'd encourage girls not to look at the fact that it's mostly men. Look at it as, okay, since it's mostly men, I will find my place. You can find, for everybody in this field, you can find your place and to learn from them. The men that I work with here are incredible. They teach you, they are open to, helping you to learn and to understand. And for me, who was transitioning from another career into nuclear science, something that I didn't study in my undergrad, they were pivotal in helping me to understand how to do things. I didn't have a female in this lab to work with. So males can be allies as well. So it doesn't have to be a male versus female thing. I think it's just to stay open. Don't get discouraged. I wasn't a huge fan of chemistry in high school, and yet a lot of my job has to do with chemistry. But I think things change, Sometimes it's the teacher that you're exposed to. Sometimes it's just a stage in your life. You might prefer a particular subject, but don't feel daunted by the task at all. Just still pursue what you are interested in.
Without a doubt, tourism is Jamaica's #1 industry, and our dedicated workers are its greatest asset. Jamaica would not be the heartbeat of the world without you. As the industry rebounds from the impact of COVID-19 pandemic, we truly need all hands on deck, yours included. Vaccination holds the hope for tourism's full recovery. In addition to COVID-19 protocols, it is the only comprehensive way to fight the pandemic and save lives. I am therefore urging every worker in the tourism and hospitality industry, in all the subsectors, including accommodation, attractions, entertainment, transportation and craft, to do your part and get vaccinated. Do it for yourself, your family, your workplace, and your community. Do it for Jamaica, land we love. Stay safe, get vaccinated.
Jamaica has always presented itself as a well-rounded nation, little but tallow. Agriculture is another viable area reaping big financial gains for our nation's coffers, and even the young ones are tapping into the industry.
Due to the pandemic, children are more engaged in online schooling at home, and you are probably wondering what else you can do to keep them engaged. Have you considered agriculture? It is a good way to get them outside and active, teaching them responsibility, the value of hard work, making money, and even entrepreneurship. Nicoy Kernaldi is proof that the strategy actually does work. He took his lessons and became not only a successful farmer, but an agricultural educator.
I have been involved in agriculture for many years now, as far as I can remember, because my parents are both farmers, and growing up in a farmer's household, it was automatic that I developed the skill and also the interest. The strategy that my parents would employ is that though their farm is the main farm, but what they would do, they would give you, let's say, 24 tomato seedlings, and you'll plant those for yourself. So you'll start practicing how to care them, and then you'll harvest them, and then you'll get all of that money. So I started to see the benefit from very early. What my parents did again, they gave each of us a female goat. So we would start the reproduction from early, and that money would go towards our savings.
Imagine what life would be like for your children, rearing their own animals, growing their own produce, making their own money. Just think about it. If you're still not convinced, meet our 5-year-old friend O'Neill Grant, affectionately called Chris from St. Elizabeth.
Me go take the goat, me feed the fowl, me feed the rabbit. Look at mommy, mama. Come, mama.
Yes, you have rabbit and you feed them a man time. Like sometimes when you go in there, you clean out the coop and you catch water and you give rabbit. Otherwise, you feed them for them. See, you have chicken neck up and feed them same way. Before Chris 3-year-old, Chris always go and come. Go and come. So after that, follow me go bush a man time, watch how me tie goat them. Sometimes he say, Mama, I want the rope to tie. So sometimes he give me rope to tie, he go and get way. Sometimes I go down there and get way. So I say, all right, Chris, come show you if you tie goat. And he say, all right, Mama. So when Chris start tie goat them, then don't get way again. So it get used to know, till he never remember say, if you go by mother, I just me want to stay with. If me a plan go and help me, anything me I do, he help me. Till after that now, me thought me a raise for chicken them same way. He get up a man time, let me open the coop, he help me feed them. He start getting wash out the pan, give them water same way. When if he pluck, he catch them and give me them, we kill them. So everything me I do, Chris give helping on the night same way.
And Chris manages to do all this while still making time for his online classes.
I give Chris a goat. Chris say, Mama, he said the goat turn big, I want to sell him and buy a cow calf.
My goatee. My goatee. My goatee.
He behave alright enough, so sometimes like water get in trouble now, we dry him and hug him up and put in his head and I walk like I do so rub him down so I keep myself calm. Like when the sun hot at the time now, he say, Mama, give me one pan. And Chris take a pan, catch water pipe and go give every one of them water. And come back. And I even know when we reach also 3-4 o'clock, Chris say, Mama, come ready, we are going to figure out them keep in. Yes, he get used to it, he get used to it. So sometimes when me up here, in the bush long time, go give them water. And sometimes when me look out at what, he get them in already long time.
So you say Chris going to be a farmer?
Yes, he want to be a farmer.
I want to be a farmer. Yes.
So if you don't have a farm or yard like Chris to rear animals or to do farming on a large scale, then utilize your backyard and your containers. Remember, reduce, reuse, and recycle. You can sow seedlings or plant a small vegetable garden and sell your excess to your neighbors. Here's a secret. If you plant okra, once those okra trees start bearing, you can reap every 3 days. So imagine selling at least 5 bags of okra at $100 per bag every 3 days for, let's say, a month. Imagine all that money that you can make. Do the math.
Practice good hygiene by washing your hands frequently using soap and water. Here's how you should do it while conserving water. Turn on the tap to wet your hands, then turn off the pipe. Lather your hands and the tap with soap. Turn on the tap and wash your hands, back, front, and in between fingers. Use some of the water to wash off the tap, then turn it off. Dry your hands with disposable hand towels. If you don't have running water, use a hand rub containing 62% or more alcohol. If hand sanitizers are not available, rubbing alcohol, Dettol, white rum, or household bleach will do the trick. And if all else fails, let hand washing and the handling of potable water be a 2-person event. Each person will take turns pouring and washing hands with sitting water. Now is a good time to consider installing a tap on your containers to reduce the risk of water contamination. Faucets can be easily attached to drums, buckets, or 5-gallon water bottles. And to ensure that the outside of the containers are clean when recapping, disinfect it with hand rub containing alcohol that's 62% or more. The 5 R's of water conservation are also necessary to practice. Reduce water wastage by investing in water-saving devices. Reuse water at least twice before discarding. Replace leaking pipes, faucets, and other plumbing equipment. Recycle wastewater and use it for gardening, car washing, or cleaning of public spaces. And reclaim water through rainwater harvesting. We all must play our part to ensure there's water to combat the coronavirus and stave off prolonged drought.
We did mention that this 24-hour period is being observed as World Meteorological Day globally, and its importance cannot be overlooked. Here's why. The day highlights the important contribution of national meteorological and hydrological services to the safety and well-being of society. The themes chosen for World Meteorological Day generally reflect topical weather, climate, or water-related issues. This year's theme is Early Warning and Early Action, Hydrometeorological and Climate Information for Disaster Risk Reduction. The day also shows how greater coordination between national meteorological and hydrological services, disaster management authorities and development agencies are essential to better prevention, preparedness, and response. It's simple. Being prepared and able to act at the right time in the right place can save many lives, now and in the future. We celebrate all our meteorologists and hydrologists for helping us to stay prepared and helping Jamaica get to that place where everyone can live, work, raise families, and do business.
There are two weather systems
This is going to become hurricane.
The storm right now has winds of 100.
Met Service has issued a number of warnings.
There are a number of terms associated with the Atlantic hurricane season, but how many of them do you really understand? Let's talk weather.
Waters of the Atlantic remain very warm.
This is going to be a monster storm.
First, hurricanes, storms, and depressions are all types of tropical cyclones. A tropical cyclone is a system of winds with a warm core that originates over tropical or subtropical waters, for example, the Atlantic Ocean. Based on the wind speed associated with the system, cyclones are defined as follows. Tropical depression, a system which has winds moving up to 63 kilometers per hour. A tropical storm has wind speed up to 118 kilometers per hour. And a hurricane is a northern hemisphere cyclone with wind speed starting at 119 kilometers per hour. Hurricanes are rated categories 1 to 5. Relating to hurricanes, the eye is the center of the system, usually the calmest area in terms of winds. The eye wall is the area surrounding the eye and is characterized by intense winds. As soon as a significant system develops, the Met Service will take steps to inform the public. The terms that will be used include an advisory. This is any official information issued by tropical cyclone warning centers. It speaks to location, intensity, and the movement of the system, as well as any precaution that is to be taken. A tropical storm or hurricane watch is a public release from the Met Service advising that associated conditions pose a possible threat to the island within 48 hours. Tropical storm or hurricane warnings are issued when associated conditions are 36 hours or less away. Now, a flash flood watch says that flooding is possible and precautions are to be taken. A flash flood warning suggests that flooding has already been reported or will occur shortly. Those are some of the terms and definitions that you should be familiar with, especially during this season. For more information on these and other terms, you can contact the Meteorological Service of Jamaica at 876-929-3694. And remember, to be better prepared, stay in the know.
We have to wrap things here, but we look forward to your company tomorrow again at the same time. Until then, watch some more of our programs and newscast on our YouTube channel. Visit our Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter pages for more information. From all of us here at the GIS, I'm Adrian Atkinson, thanking you for watching, and see you next time.
This has been a production of the Jamaica Information Service, the voice of Jamaica.